Now, here's the whole purpose of me adding all these cameras. You remember the director track that I showed you back when I did the sound and face effects? Well, we want to add another director track, and the director track does a lot more than what I showed before. If you select this little camera by the director track, nothing's happening right now, right? You can move anywhere you want, it's not going to do anything. Here's what the director track is actually for though. With the director track selected, press enter, and it shows you all your cameras, right? So let's say camera 1. Now do you know what happens? As soon as it starts, boom, you're looking through camera 1, right? Then at any point you can say, okay, well now I want to go to camera 2. So it's going to cut right to camera 2. Then you can say, okay, well now I want to go to camera 3. Now it goes to camera 3. And camera 3 at this point is not moving though, you can see. But you can see that's how you do camera cuts, and it's pretty nice. Now one of the other things I wanted to show you real quick while I'm here, now we're looking through camera 3, you see. So I'll go and edit camera 3. FOV angle, that stands for field of view. So I'm going to, nothing to keyframe. And that is very odd. Well, and it works there. That's very, very strange. So, I'm going to see if I can magically fix that by saving, going back to Kismet, and retrying. Let's see. And now it works. So, good old Unreal Ed. Hopefully, you know, they fixed some bugs between 2007 and now 2009. Okay, now, while we're still looking through camera 3 here, camera 3, field of view angle. That's what FOV stands for. I think I already said that. Field of view. Now, what you're saying is, okay, here I want you to be looking at the 90 degrees field of view, and here I want you to be looking at the 90 degrees field of view. Now, I have it set to linear, so if I change this, let's say 180, that's going to be yeah, I was going to say, that might be a little extreme. I wonder if we can get, yeah, 170. Look at this. Now, it's going to interpolate between all of those. Field of view effectively means how much are you seeing from the sides. Okay? So, you can see all of a sudden it goes, boom, look at that. So, the camera's not moving at all. The camera's in the exact same place. What's changing is basically how it sees things. So we can also set that to, let's say 45. Now you can see it's not, the camera's not moving. If I go and, if I deselect this, I can actually go and zoom out and things. Now look at this. The camera's not moving in that time, but then if you go back and look at this, look how the camera's view is changing, and that's the field of view that's changing. So if you change it slightly, then it just makes a nice zoom feature basically. But if you change it drastically, so now let's again set this to 10. Again, when you set it to lesser values, it actually still works like a pretty nice zoom. When you set it to more though than 90, like let's say 120, it starts to really distort things. So that's field of view, and I'm trying to think if there's really anything else that needs to go with this camera tutorial here. I really don't think that there is. Let me look at the camera properties real quick and see if there's anything that's important. Notice this is already set to interpolating, which is something we didn't really talk about much. But remember, I always set the static meshes to interpolating. Remember, that's something I always had to do. This, when we set it as an interp actor, that set that to interpolating automatically. Now, if we wanted to move the particle effects while we're in Matinee, see right now, here's our particle effects that we did. They don't move, okay? Now, watch. Oh, there they go. Well, okay, now if I wanted to add a movement track to that, and really I shouldn't be doing this in this tutorial, I don't think, but okay, now we'll say, okay, at this point move here, right? Now it works fine in here, but then every time that you go to see it, it's going to give you a warning, hey, you need to set that to fizz interpolating. And if you try to do it in-game, then it's not going to work either. So what you need to do, go and set that to interpolating, fizz interpolating, and then you're not going to have any more problems with that, and it's going to work great in-game. So let's go back to camera. Movement should be fine. Camera actor, aspect ratio, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Now, post-processing, this one is actually pretty important, even though we're not really going to get into post-processing much in this tutorial. or really any other tutorial that I'm doing in this series. But I'll go ahead and kind of show you a little bit anyways. If you have a big post-processing volume, or you have post-processing set up for your level, right, and you want the camera to have post-processing of its own, you need to select Override Post-Processing, right? Now look at all these post-processing fields that you have here, and these do a lot of things. DOF is depth of field, so we can basically set it so that things get blurry as they go further away, or blurry as they get closer. Motion blur, of course. Okay, bloom is basically that haze that I was talking about around, like, around this, for example. See these lights here? And it'll especially become apparent when I turn on actual lighting there. So we can turn up the bloom scale to like 5, for example. Or we can set it down to 0. So then we can also set the kernel size, and we can do a lot of things here with, you know. So I'm gonna keep looking here, and there's a lot of things here, and those don't really do much to the actual view. There's one that does. There's blur amounts, of course. Scene highlights. This one I know really changes color and things like that. Same with midtones and shadows. They really change a lot of those things. Here's the default field of view angle, and scene desaturation. That's basically discoloration. So you set that to 1, everything's going to be in black and white. Okay. So then, once you have all those properties set there, you can go and you can say new vector property track, and these now you can say, okay, I want to set the highlights or the midtones or the shadows. Those were the colors that I showed you, right? You can also set it differently. I know there's a way. Float property track. Yep. Now here's basically all the other options. So if you want to change like the field of view, or the, you know, the, okay, depth of field, you know, motion blur, desaturation, look at this. Now that's the default saturation basically. Now we can say, okay, now at this point in time we want that desaturation to be 0. Now look what happens. Okay, so it cuts to this camera, it's in black and white, all the color fades in. But remember, we set the midtones differently, so the color is still really different. So then we can go and, like I said, you know, we can change pretty much all of those things there. So it's really just up to you to mess around and see what you want to do. Material parameters, that doesn't really apply. Color property track, that's for lighting, remember, so that's not the same thing either. So, but it's really neat what you can do with cameras though, and you really can do a lot of things. So if you watch, you know, if you watch like the actual cutscenes that are with Unreal Tournament 3, or Gears of War, or Gears of War 2, you know, you get the idea. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them. So that wraps up this tutorial.